Hey guys, as you know, the HVAC Uncensored podcast is brought to you by Yellow Jacket. Guys, I shouldn't even have to bring up their name and ask if you know who I'm talking about, because if you've been in the field for a substantial amount of time, even if you're a newcomer, you know who Yellow Jacket is. They are one of the staples in the industry. They make every product imaginable that you could need in this trade. No matter what manifold that you use, whether it's one of their Titan manifolds, the original analog, the new digital manifolds that you hear on all the social media platforms, you should be using their hoses because Yellow Jacket makes the best hoses in the business, as well as vacuum pumps, recovery machines, leak detectors. Guys, Yellow Jacket, just an acronym is quality. Everything they make is just of the utmost quality, and I have used their products since I got into the trade. When my dad first gave me my first set of gauges, it's just everything about them has been quality, and they've always stood by their products. And now that I've learned more about the company and what they stand for, I cannot thank them enough for having this partnership, because they are just an utmost company that I just love everything they do and everything they stand for. So guys, if you have not checked out Yellow Jacket, please go to www.yellowjacket.com, and remember, 66 years of expertise built into every tool.
I pledge of allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands,
one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. God bless the USA.
If you're trying to take your HVAC game to the next level, then buckle your seatbelt, crank up the volume, and try not to be offended, because you're listening to the HVAC Uncensored podcast with Gil Kelley and Kelly McKay. Now, here's Gil and Kelley.
What up, what up? Welcome back to the HVAC Uncensored podcast, episode 17. And you know what fucking time it is.
Let's get ready to rumble!
Yeah, baby. Yeah, baby. Happy to be back. Had a little technical difficulties, but we're back. We're recording. And as always, sitting across from my good buddy, Kelly McKay. What is up, brother?
What's up, bro? Glad to be back. Glad we're rocking and rolling again.
Yeah, it does feel good, man. And like we said, guys, we apologize for the delay. My laptop took a shit. It just happens. There's nothing you can do about it. But we put that behind us and move it on. But it is what it is. So this is episode 17. Obviously, there's a week that was skipped. You guys should be hearing the episode before this one with Kelly's general manager, Rick, which turned out to be an awesome fucking episode. I thoroughly enjoyed recording that. That was a lot of fun.
Absolutely. We had a great time, and I think there's a lot of valuable information in that podcast. So, but by far, one of the funnest podcasts we've ever recorded, for sure.
Yeah, definitely good time. And before we forget, I know, Kelly, I don't want to steal your thunder because you brought it up already. You said you wanted to give a shout out to a certain person. If you want to go ahead and do that.
We both feel the same way, man. We're both super happy for our good buddy, Ethan Riley. He announced in a really cool little video that will be something that they can go back and have that memory for the rest of all these years. But anyhow, he's getting married. He's engaged now, and he's going to have a little girl. So super happy for him. What it would be like to be 21, 22 years old again. and just starting this journey, this life journey that he's getting ready to take on. So we're super happy for him.
Yeah, definitely, Ethan. Definitely happened for you, buddy. And if you guys don't remember who we're talking about, Ethan was the young man who was on the podcast with us a couple episodes ago. So, yeah, happy for you, Ethan. That's awesome time. I know it's a very exciting time in your life. I remember those days. Seems like forever. I mean, it makes me feel old, but I know I'm not. But definitely an awesome time, dude. And we're definitely happy for you, buddy. Seems like you have an awesome family. So more power to you, buddy.
Yeah, absolutely.
But I know,
And
me
you
Kelly
are old, so
oh yeah, I know. Those great ball hairs are coming out.
yes.
I'm gonna have to start dyeing my nuts when I dye my beard. It's fucking sucks.
Start calling you Gray Bush.
I'm already Gandalf the Gray. Now I'm gonna be Gray Bush. I'll have to make a video doing the what is it? Shit off Silence of the Lambs, where the guy's like wearing the fur coat and he's got like his pecker tucked between his legs and he's like oh shit. Anyway, on to HVAC. Me and Kelly were both talking, man, that we are both fucking slammed right now. It's I know here it gets cold at night, but it kind of warms up during the day, like in the 50s and stuff like that. But that cold spell at night is enough to make the phone ring off the hook between PMs, the no heat calls, and then sales coming. It is booming, and it's surprising, but it's a welcome surprise. And I know that you have the same stuff going on, right, Kel?
Yeah, I mean, we're installs, bids, PMs, no heat calls. We're slammed, and we're just shorthanded. So, and I know you guys are a little bit shorthanded. We talked about that a week or two ago. So, yeah, we're just balls to the wall trying to keep up, and it's a good thing. I mean, we had a decent November last year, so I'm thinking November is going to be great this year. We're going to finish October with a bang, but October has not been great overall. But now we got too much work to even get done. We're just doing the best we can. I hope everybody else is experiencing the same thing.
Yeah, definitely, man. I know it depends on the region you live in, but I mean, it's crazy. Like we said before, like we probably had one of the best summers we've had in a long time. So if we can have a winter to match it, then I'm all for it, man. Fuck yeah, I'll take it in a heartbeat.
Fuck yeah, I take it too. I hope we have a cold winter. I don't know what I always hear like customers will tell me about the Farmer's Almanac, what it says for this year. Seems like somebody was telling me that I think that this year is supposed to be wet and cold. So colder than normal. But like, I know you guys get snow up there, but we just haven't had shit for snow the last 2 years. I mean, we might get 1 inch, 2 inches, but it melts in like 2 hours and it's gone. So we could take some snow this year, like some real snow.
Yeah, we're supposed to. They say that we're supposed to get some good amounts of snow. We normally have a couple of good snowstorms every winter.
Yeah.
Some more than others, but I mean, I keep saying they say, like, who the fuck is they? But I've talked to customers and heard different things that we're supposed to get some decent snow this year, and I'm fine with that. I don't mind snow. It's when we get, I'll take 4 feet of snow over a 1/4 inch of ice, because I don't care if you have 8-wheel drive. It's not going to matter if you have ice.
Yeah. But I know we've talked about this before, but I really enjoy getting out and just running calls when you got to drive 20 mile an hour between calls to get from one place to another safely. I just enjoy it. I don't know why. There's a lot of morons out there sliding around, causing accidents, so I just try to stay away from them. But I like getting out when it's nasty weather. The roads usually aren't nearly as busy. And like I said, you got some idiots out there sliding all around, so it kind of makes it exciting.
Yeah, I like it too. I like cold weather, believe it or not. Like, obviously, I like the summertime and things you can do in the summertime, but I don't know. I mean, I hate sweating my ass off all the time, and I don't mind being cold. I mean, because I can dress warm. I mean, I got gear that I can put on where I'm not like cold, and
Yeah.
I mean, here it doesn't get like, it's not like fucking Alaska where it's frigid and like your boogers are freezing to your face and shit. But it gets cold enough that I can deal with it, and I really don't mind the winter.
Yeah, it's one of those things that I really don't like the cold, but I do like out running when it's like that. When the weather's nasty, I like running calls when it's nasty, but I don't know what it is, just getting stuck on too many package units or being on a fucking rooftop with 6 inches of snow all around the unit. I fucking hate the cold weather, man. It just gets to me, like makes my bones hurt. I'm just got sand in my vagina. When it gets cold, I get sand in my vagina. So if my guys make fun of me all the time, I'll have my the first friggin' 50-degree day. You wearing your long johns today? They're always giving me shit because I'm cold. I'm just I don't like cold weather. If I could move somewhere like where it's just fucking nice all the time, it'd just be shitty for business. But unless it's super hot, like Arizona, like Phoenix area or something. But I could sure live somewhere where it's not, where we don't have the cold weather.
Yeah, I wonder, like I know San Diego, San Diego is beautiful. I mean, it's like 75 and sunny. You got that breeze off. I wonder how you guys in that area, how you do with that kind of weather. Like, how is it? You know what I mean? If it's 75 and sunny all year, like, how is your business?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I do know Mitch Kinney, if you've heard of him. He's pretty active on Facebook, and he's from San Diego or lives there currently. He's from like Colorado or somewhere. But those, and I've talked to him before, and he says that, HVAC's just not so great there because the weather's just mild. It does get fairly chilly there, so they need heat once in a while, but it's also not what you think of when you think of California. Like when you think of California, you automatically think like beautiful sunny weather, palm trees, which they do have palm trees, but it's not like hot all the time.
Yeah, I know Mitch Kenny you're talking about.
Yeah.
I knew he was in California. I didn't know he was in San Diego, but
yeah,
that makes sense. But yeah, fuck, before we forget, man, I just because this is the closest podcast that we'll have to it. Happy Halloween to everybody. If you guys are taking the kiddos around, and like I will be tomorrow, Happy Halloween. Be safe out there. Don't do anything I wouldn't do, which I'm not sure what that is, but
do you still actually go out like door to door with the kids? It seems like everybody's gotten away from that, and they do this trunk or treat, or like even down Main Street of these smaller towns, they'll have like trunk or treat or something, or the businesses will all hand out candy. When we were kids, man, we just fucking hopped on our bikes and we rode all over the town and collected as much candy as we possibly could, and that's just slowly went away.
Yeah, we still take my kids out, man. Not in my neighborhood. We go to the neighborhood I grew up in, because it's a nice middle class neighborhood that has a lot of houses that they're close together. The streets are all lit up. It's safe, and you can just hit a lot of houses quickly to get a lot of candy, and that's always worked. And that's where we take them. I mean, now my older son, he comes with one of his friends, and like we let them like go in front of us and stuff like that, because he doesn't want to be with his parents. He's a teenager. But right. The sad part is the day and age we live in, I don't let him just roam around just because, I don't trust people. But once we bring the kids home, then I go out in the old beat up van and try to give candy to kids. But apparently that's not good.
Right.
Frown upon that. But no, there is some
clown outfit.
Yeah. You want some candy, little boy? But yeah, it's crazy, man. I mean, I guess I get it, because the sad part is we're living in a different world. It's not what it was when we grew up, but I'm not gonna get away from those things until I feel like I have to. I mean, obviously I worry about the well-being and safety of my children, but I'm there, so I'm not gonna not do that stuff and do some I mean, we used to do other little things that, like my sister-in-law, before she moved to Texas, they would have a thing at where she worked where the kids could go around and stuff like that. She was like a physical therapist at a nursing home, and they would have like give candy out, but we weren't going to only do that though. I'm still going to take my kids out.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's just one of those things that it's weird that our perception is that it's not as safe as it used to be. But the bottom line is, and you've heard there's so many studies done. It's just we're so much more connected, so we see what's going on in the world a lot faster, through social media and the internet. But the truth is that it gets safer. The world is safer now than it's ever been. It's weird that we have this perception, and I think it's just because we know about so much more stuff going on in the world than we used to.
Yeah, I agree with that statement, but kids are different. I mean, we didn't have school shootings when we were younger. We didn't, it wasn't a generation of, pussies that they were, everybody gets a trophy stuff. And
Right.
It is different as far as the generation that grows up. So maybe it's not that we're not safer. It's just the people in the world today, I guess you say that
Sure.
I mean, these kids you're goofy. I mean, they might have gotten to a quarrel at school, and rather than duking it out like you did back in the day, now it's, kid go home and steals his dad's gun, and now he's in his costume and goes and does something stupid. It's goofy, man. I mean, that's why I don't watch the news anymore, because it's depressing. So that's the kind of stuff that just makes me nervous. Being a father of four, like you never know what to fucking expect anymore.
Yeah, I get it, man. I get it. But yes, stop watching the news. Anybody fucking watching the news, knock that shit off. It's like poison putting it in your brain, man. If there's anything major happening, you're either going to hear it on the radio or you're going to see it on social media somewhere. But don't dwell on that shit. Because man, it's like, I can't remember. I think it's Tony Robbins who says that, if you've got a cup of coffee and somebody puts one drop of poison in it, it's going to kill you. Not that that shit's going to kill you, but think of it the same way. Like all it takes is one little drop to corrupt the substance, which is your brain. So, and then you worry about shit you don't need to be worrying about or you have no control over. So, sorry, just wanted to say that because I stopped watching the news years ago, and it's because the news used to fucking scare me all the time. It's always the latest outbreak of this disease or that disease, and it's hype.
Yeah, it's depressing. I agree. I was the same way. I mean, granted, I don't have time anymore, but even if I did, I still wouldn't watch it. Just because it's depressing.
Yeah.
I mean, frankly, that's all it is. You just watch it. It's just like, who killed who today? And I mean, me living in the city that I live in, Baltimore, like one of the murder capitals of the fucking country. It's just, I mean, it's sad when you hear like the news anchors. You're like, oh, we only had 11 murders this weekend. Like, really? We only had 11? Or they have these what do they call them? Ceasefire weekends where they'll do like these protests and people still get killed. And it's like, well, it was only 2. Like,
right.
That's what do you mean it was only 2? Like, we're gonna fucking celebrate that? But yeah, guys, like we talked about in a previous podcast where me and Kelly talked a little bit, man, just about your mindset and just being positive. Like I am a fun person. I like to joke around. I'm serious when I need to be serious, my everyday life, but I just try to breed positivity, and I let negative shit just roll off my back just because it doesn't accomplish anything. You still have to do what you have to do. You still have to go to work every day. You still have to feed your kids, feed yourself, pay your bills, and just poisoning yourself with that bullshit doesn't fucking change anything. You still got to do all the same shit you had on your schedule regardless. Just now you're doing it all pissed off all day. And I refuse to be that way.
And sometimes it's hard. We're not all perfect. Nobody's perfect. It's just like, we all fall down. We all fuck up. It's just about realizing what's happening. Like you've got this self-talk that your mind automatically goes to because it's trying to protect you. So, but it can lead down a rabbit hole that you don't want to go down. So yeah, just be aware. I've said that 1,000 times. Be aware of what you're thinking. Man, if you just become aware of your thoughts and actually start to control them, because the bottom line is, Dr. Joe Dispenza, who studied this stuff, is that he says that by the time somebody hits 35, you're basically on autopilot. Like your body is just doing the same routines. Like he says you roll out of bed the same way, you put your feet on the floor the same way, you walk straight to the bathroom, then you put your pants on, whatever. You got this routine that you don't even have to think about. Your body is just trained to do. And our thoughts, you could be training your thoughts the same way. So if you're thinking negative all the time, it becomes a habit, and that habit before long becomes just your regular behavior. And so it's just about breaking that cycle and stop being negative. So you have the power to do it. It's very difficult, especially if you've been stuck in that behavior for years and years and years, but you do have the power to do it and change it. It's just you have to become aware of what you're thinking and, say something positive to yourself instead of dwelling in negativity all the time.
Well, and trust me, that was me. I mean, I like, Kelly said, I mean, none of us are perfect. I didn't get like this overnight. I mean, I went through, to hell and back in my life, battling addiction and other things that have just led me to the mindset of, I'm not going to live like that anymore, man. Like, I'm not going to dwell on the past. I'm not going to, I've already wasted enough time that I'm not going to let the little things bother me anymore. It's just because it's pointless. And once I started slowly, and it was a process, like I said, it didn't happen overnight, but once I started letting that kind of stuff happen, my quality of life was just better. I was enjoying things more. I mean, and granted, I have bad days. I come home pissed off, but they're few and far between. I come home, I leave work at fucking work. I come home, I enjoy my children, I enjoy my wife, whatever it is that we're doing when I'm not working. And that's just how it is. I just try to keep it that way and try not to let different things mix, because I just I want to enjoy the time that I have. Not to sound all cliche, but tomorrow is never promised. So I'm gonna enjoy each day like it's my last, and if my eyes open the next day, then I'm gonna start all over again and just keep fucking doing that. That's just kind of the way I think about it.
That's a good way to think about it, because, and I'm guilty, man. We're all guilty, you know that. But when it comes to the struggles and stuff that I go through in business, I just have to remind myself that to try to enjoy, the journey. It's not, everyone says that it's not about the destination. It's not about when you get there, because really nothing changes when you get there other than you set new goals and so you just enjoy the journey to get to your destination. That way, if you think getting something or making that goal or whatever is going to make you happy, whatever it may be, the bottom line is it's not. Enjoy, decide to be happy now.
Yeah. And sometimes I think, and I used to be so guilty of this, sometimes you need to just be content with what you have. Obviously you want things, and we've always talked about setting personal goals, business goals, etc. But
yes. Being
content with where you are in life or what you have, and just stepping back and being like, oh man, like I do have a beautiful wife, or I do have a nice home, and my situation is not that bad, or something like that. Because I feel like it happens, and I'm going to tie it into our trade, HVAC, and we always see it in the group where people are like, oh, should I take this job, or should I do this? And not saying that we don't want to better ourselves. I mean, obviously, we always want everyone to better themselves, and opportunities come along. And when they come knocking, if it's a good opportunity, then yeah, go for it. But sometimes there's nothing wrong with what we're doing at that time. There's no reason to make a change. There's no, we think that, oh, I gotta do this so I can get this better job, and then once I get that job, I need to do this so that I can do this, and that doesn't always have to be the case. I mean, I hope that's coming off the way I mean it to come off.
I think so. I mean, yeah, I agree. I mean, it's not. It's one thing if you're in a negative work environment and you want to get out of that environment because there's too much negativity around you. But the grass isn't always greener, and we've talked about that many times. But no matter what, sometimes you just have to go test it for yourself and find out. And oftentimes, what I see is the guys, I wish them luck, and in any guys that has left our company, I always wish them luck and hope that they're happy when they move on. But I know just from my pursuit of my goals that I've had so many changes throughout the business, throughout my career, throughout my life, that it doesn't, it all goes back to just be happy today. It's it's always exciting when change happens, but that excitement, when that excitement sooner or later wears off. So, be excited about today, no matter where the fuck you are. You fucking woke up, like Gil said. Tomorrow's not promised.
Yeah, I mean, I wake up, I reach over, I smack my wife on the ass, tell her I love her, and get up and start the day, man.
Yep.
And I don't say that jokingly. I mean, just for one, that I'm able to do that. My wife is there, laying next to me. That my eyes open that morning. Just try to appreciate the little things, guys, and gals. I mean, that's the big thing. I used to always say little things make the big things happen, and just remember those little things as you go throughout the day. But
kind of went off on a tangent there. Sorry.
We did, guys.
Yeah.
And to be honest, man, with all the computer issues, man, we didn't really plan for today. It was just, but we want to make sure we put something out, and we just.
It's always good information. It's always a good reminder, just to hear that kind of stuff. But I do have a little segment that I'll do if you're ready for me to do it.
Well, I guess.
Now, here's Go Make Money with Kelly McKay.
All right. I got some really cool information for you. I learned this from Joe Crisera. It was some free training that I took of his, or it could have been even on a video of his, just from his website, Total Immersion Sales. But Gil, I got a question for you. So when you offer options, you're more than likely you're putting together at least 3 options for people, like for a new equipment.
Yeah,
is that correct? So when you present the option, which order do you present it in?
I always start with the best option because I hope that I don't have to make it to the worst option.
That is the absolute correct way to do it. I think Joe, he's got a lot of people in his program, and he does some big convention, and I want to say Texas, and I don't know, he does a couple of them. But one of the things that he said, because my point of that is that he works with a lot of contractors, and he had some contractors just test out some stuff for a couple of weeks, a very short amount of time, and then they put the statistics to it. And what they found was if you offer the lowest option first, so your economy option, then your mid-range option, and then your premium option, this is what they found. 60% of the time, people went with the economy option, the low end. And then 20% they went mid-range, and 20% went premium. But here's the interesting thing is that when they offered the premium first, then the mid-range, then the economy, 30% will pick the premium. So you just upped your sales by 10% on the premium option, which could equal a lot more dollars for your company. Then 50% pick the mid-range instead of 20% picking the mid-range if you offered them in the opposite order. And then only 20% pick the economy. So basically you got, if you offer the premium, mid-range, then economy, you've got 30% pick premium, 50% pick mid-range, and 20% pick economy. But if you offer it in the opposite order and you start with the low end first, then 60% are going to go with the low end. 20% mid-range, 20% premium. So that one little change, if you've been offering those in the opposite order, could drastically improve your business, like tremendous results. So it's crazy how I'm sure that there's psychology behind this, but the way I see it and the way that I've been taught is that the premium option is going to be the best solution because it solves the most problems. So I always start with the premium solution because it's going to solve the most problems. It's going to take care of Becky's allergy symptoms. It's going to take care of Bob's dry throats when the dry, itchy throat, scratchy throat when he wakes up in the morning. All these things that we can, hot or cold spots. If the baby's room is cold or hot all the time, well, the premium equipment's going to have the ECM motor. It's going to have at least 2-stage, if not modulating. It's going to keep more even temperatures throughout the home. So always start with your premium. And if that's something you've been doing the opposite, I'd really, hit us up in the group or email us and let us know what your results have been once you switch that around. So what you're going to find, the bottom line is it doesn't take any extra time to install premium versus mid-range or low. It's pretty much the same type of installation. So the more that you sell of mid-range and premium, the more revenue you're going to make, the more the more that you'll have the money to grow your business. So give that a shot if you're doing it in the opposite order. And do you have any final thoughts on that, Gil?
Oh, yeah, man. I was going to let you finish, but it's also think about when you're doing that cost, okay? When you say you're going to go work up a bid, that customer has got in their head like, oh, my God, what's this going to cost me? Like, oh, my God. And they're thinking the worst. And when you start with that premium, obviously that's going to be the most expensive. So say your premium is 10 grand. Then you go to your middle and it's 7 grand. And then you go down to the other one and it's 4 grand. And I'm just making these numbers up. When you work your way down, all of a sudden that 7 and 4 grand doesn't really look so bad when they were thinking 9, 10 grand at first. So when you work your way down, it's better at preparing the customer's cost. I mean, mind as far as the cost they're going to spend. When you start with the lowest and go up, that's why they're not going to buy that premium system as often, because they've already heard those low numbers. And I've always noticed especially when you do it that way, or even if you go premium to economy, that a lot of people go with that middle tier because they think, oh, I don't need the best, but I don't want base, so I'll go right in the middle. But you're able to get those premium. Like me, when I talk about it, I go over the premium option and I go over every detail. I take a little bit longer to talk about it, to add a few things in, and then I move to the medium. I say a little bit, and then the last option, I say as minimal as possible, unless they ask me questions. And that's what I've learned. Sometimes less is more, where you just say what you have to say, what's in that package, and then keep your mouth shut. Let them do the talking. Let them ask the questions. Because, like, prime example, today, I found a cracked heat exchanger, and I offered a guy, the whole good, better, best thing. And I started with the top one. I started getting to I said a little bit of the, what was it? I said the premium one, which when we do our premium, it's 10 years parts and labor. I got to the middle option and I said, well, this one is 10-year parts, but only 5 years labor. And he stopped me. He said, don't even go on. He's like, just go ahead and I want to do that premium option. So I didn't even have to go any farther. So I found out that, I mean, that just, I've heard that in other classes, but I just think that that's the only way. And if you are doing it the cheapest option to the premium, that you're definitely hurting your sales, in my opinion.
Yeah, well, not in your opinion. In reality, I mean, it's the numbers don't lie. You're definitely missing out on some better sales and more revenue for your company. And you were saying that's great and that does happen where they're like, okay, I just want that one, and they make the decision right there. But guys, this is going just one step further on this. Don't be afraid to ask for the sale. I was on a bid this afternoon, and I gave the premium option first, the mid-range, and the economy. And she was older lady, and she's on a fixed income, and she immediately was like, okay, I have to go with the I'm probably looking at the lowest option. Well, actually, she didn't say shit. And I'm like, okay, so out of these options, which one are you leaning towards? And she was like, oh, I have to go with the low option. And I said, great. And then she didn't say anything. And if I would have said, okay, well, just let me know, let me know when you're ready, because we could do it. I could get you on the schedule. You just can't attack the close like that. So I just went right in for it. I said, is there any reason why we couldn't go ahead and just schedule this, or go ahead and get the decision over with and just schedule it today? She's like, no, really not. And then she just starts looking at her calendar. She's like, I'm free. Oh, my only appointment's Thursday, so anytime. I'm like, great. I put her on the schedule and close the deal. But don't be afraid to ask. That's the next thing. You got to ask for it. Just I'm pretty comfortable with people at this point, just because I've been doing this for a long time. So, but if you're not comfortable, get to the point where you are. Just don't be afraid to have those conversations and ask. Say, is there any reason why we couldn't just go ahead and get this decision over with and get started? Go ahead and put it on the schedule. I mean, however you want to ask for the sale, just ask. So offer them in the right order and ask for the sale. Don't be afraid.
Yeah, no, I agree with that, because I do the same kind of thing. If it's like a service agreement customer or somebody's been a customer for a while, I handle a little bit different because I already have that trust with them because they know me. But if it's just a straight up sales call that these people don't know me from Adam, after I'm done the whole sales thing and go through the options, I do the same thing. Is there one of these options you were leaning towards? And if they start to say something, I'm like, well, all right, well, were you going to, finance, were you going to take the financing option? Were you going to do the third deposit? Because I'm going to, go ahead and get this thing scheduled for you so we can get this problem taken care of. Just keep trying to plug that they have a problem and I'm going to solve it. Like that kind of deal. And I just keep talking like they have already said yes, until eventually they're like, yeah, okay. Yeah. Let me go get my checkbook.
Yeah.
And most of the time that works. I mean, they say it's like a psychological thing, and it's not like I'm trying to trick them or anything like that. And if they didn't want to do it, I mean, it's not like I'm doing it like the next day. They're going to say, hey, maybe I don't want to do that. And after they give me a check, I run through things again, just go through like, okay, yeah, we're going to do this one, blah, blah, blah. All right. My guys will, they'll see you Friday or whatever it is.
Yeah.
But I do feel like Kelly's right when don't be afraid to ask for it. And another thing I want to throw in here real fast is, I know we've said it to do with service, and obviously it should be applied to sales, is don't be like, people think like, oh, this person can't afford that. You know what I mean? Like, you don't know what they can afford. Like, I've went in one time where a guy told me like, I'm probably going to have to get like mid-range because I'm not going to be able to afford the good stuff. And I remember putting like, I didn't put an inverter system on there, which I kind of wish I would have now. But I think I put like a 2-stage carrier infinity system and something like that. And he was like, oh man, he's like, that's not as bad as I thought it was. And he took the best option that I gave him. So you never know what people are willing to spend on something like that, how important it is to them. So you price up the options to fit their needs, plain and simple. And then you make sure that you give that to them and you explain that to them, and let them make that decision. Don't make it for them.
Sometimes I think that there's people sometimes think that it's going to be 3,000 for a whole system or something. And, the chances you've been able to put a whole system in for 3,000 slim to none and actually make any money off of it. But I think that if I go into a situation and they've already prepped me, like they're talking to me about, well, I'm looking for the best price or whatever the case. When I get there, I'm not too shy to just flat out ask, like, what type of budget are we working with here, if you don't mind telling me, and let them tell me. And if they're way off the mark, then I can't do anything. But most of the time people will just tell you, oh, we're looking to spend around 5,000. Okay, then I'm going to look at some options that are closer to that budget. I'm still going to price some stuff that's 7, 8, 9,000, even though they said that they could only work with 5. But at least I'm going to make sure to have that option in there somewhere around 5, if that's like ultimately all they're willing to spend. But once I show them the value and show them all the other problems that I can solve with this other type of equipment or accessories or whatever the case, then sometimes they may decide to go for that. So, yeah, I agree, Gil. You gotta just offer it. But man, it's just a conversation. We're just people. They're people just like you. All our customers are. They just want the best value for their dollar, most of them, unless they're a slumlord, and then they don't give a fuck what you do. But that's a whole different animal to attack. But the bottom line is just have conversations with them, and don't be afraid to. That brings up another thing that I just learned recently, and it was from Weldon Long's new book, Consistency Selling, I think's the name of it. Consistency Selling. Great book, but he learned this from Zig Ziglar. So some people like Gil, and I'm pretty introverted. I'm not like a super outgoing person, but I've been forced to be that way because of our business. So it's one of those things that if you struggle to build rapport with people, like I know Gil has no problem. He can stop at the fucking grocery store and wind up sitting there for 3 hours because he runs into somebody that he knows. I mean, is that true, Gil? That happens all the time.
That's definitely true. My wife is always like, how can you just meet a stranger and just sit there and talk to him like you've known him for 10 years? And I don't know. I'm just comfortable around people. And that's why I've been naturally good at sales, because I'm comfortable. I'm not shy. I don't know. I like talking to different people. So yeah. I'm definitely comfortable with that.
And that's just your personality. But some people don't have that personality. So if you're one of those people that building rapport is kind of difficult, Weldon teaches this in his book, but he just, says that he's pretty certain he learned it from Zig Ziglar, and it's the acronym FORM, FORM. So F stands for family, O stands for occupation, R stands for recreation, and M stands for material possessions. So you can pick any of those and start a conversation with somebody. Hey, say for instance, family. Is your family from around here? How long have you guys lived here? And just get the conversation going. So if you're one of those people that struggles to build rapport with somebody, just remember that, FORM, family, occupation. What do you do for a living? Oh, that's interesting. How long have you been doing that? Do you enjoy it? You can just start asking questions, because people love to talk about themselves. So if you can get them to talk about themselves, or a family member, or their children, or whatever it is that they're passionate about, you get them to talk about that, you're building rapport. They're going to naturally feel safer with you and feel like you really care about them. And we do care about them. Let's be honest. I mean, we're trying to come up with a solution that's going to be designed specifically for that home and that family. So we have to ask questions to get this information. And just when it comes to building rapport, recreation, what do you guys like to do when you're not working? Do you have any hobbies? Or I notice golf clubs in the garage. Do you golf very, very often? Well, you can instantly, you're trying to get on common ground with somebody. So anytime you can get on common ground with somebody, you're building rapport and you're building trust. Material possessions. They may have a really nice boat in the driveway and you enjoy fishing. So, hey, what do you fish? Do you fish very often? And they're going to start talking about their passion for fishing. So it's really not that difficult. It all comes to asking questions and then listening. But I thought that was really cool. Form, FORM. So just one more little thing, the more you know, the more knowledge you have, the easier it is going to be to get the results that you want within your business and within your career as an HVAC professional.
Yeah, I agree. And one part that you said that really hit is, they want to talk about themselves. I can't tell you how many customers that a lot of times it's older customers, I guess because they don't get out as much. But I had one customer that he redid his fence in his shed and he wanted to fucking talk about it. So you know what? I listened to him. I didn't give two fucks about that shed and I didn't listen to half of it, but I kept just letting him talk and I just, oh man, that's nice. How did you make it do this? And after that, dude, that guy I could have been like, can I borrow $1,000? Whatever the fuck you want, Bill. You know what I mean? Yeah. It's just, sometimes it's just being an ear to listen. These people just want somebody to talk to.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And then, and Kelly's right. It's just finding common ground. Just, you got, my thing was because at first, especially when I got into sales, was I would talk too much. I didn't know when to shut up. And then I got to the point where I started to learn what to say, what not to say, and, to be able to feel people out. Some people you got to know that there's certain things you can say and you can't say. I'm trying to think. Just certain things that we talk about, whether it is family or I'll bring up my family or something like that. Just you're not sitting there like you're working on a thermostat and they're sitting on the couch and you just got that awkward fucking silence. It's just oh yeah. Hey, you having a good day today? You know what I mean? Or I'll make a little joke like, well, I know it would be better if you didn't need me, right? Oh, yeah, that's true. Didn't think about it like that. Just little things. Like we've always said, people buy things or do service with people that they trust, and they have to be able to trust you just to seem like you're a genuine person. I mean, it's not you're trying to marry their daughter. You just have to seem like a genuine person and just come off that way and not like you're some fucking douchebag. You know what I mean? And I don't know how to say that. And
if they like you, they want to do business with you. Well, that's the bottom line.
Yeah. And sometimes it's like today with the heat exchanger, I try to put myself in the customer's shoes because that's shitty. Like I was out there to do a PM and it went and I'm like, I forget his last name, but I was like, hey sir, and he was like, everything good? I was like, actually it's not. I was like, I am really sorry. I was like, I hate to have to come up here and tell you this. I was like, I like to be the person to come up and be like, hey, everything's working great. I said, but I did find a problem we're going to have to address. And then I started talking about the heat exchanger and I have the camera where I showed him the pictures and explained it to him. And, and I just kept putting myself in his shoes. I'm like, I know I'm really sorry that I found this. I said, but it is a safety issue and I want you and your family to be safe. And, there's just going to be no way around this. And it can't be all doom and gloom. Every time I throw a negative thing in there, I throw a positive, like, oh, this is a problem, but we can take care of it. It's not something we can't take care of. And things like that. Like even when it comes to offering options, like when you do a PM or a service call, it can't be like, your unit's a piece of shit. contactor's bad, capacitor's bad, you need to put on a hard start, or this thing's never going to fucking work right. It's got to be, hey, I checked everything out. Everything looks good. Everything seems to be working fine. The system seems to be good shape. It's safe to operate. But I did notice that the capacitor's weak. The contactor's a little burnt and pitted. Probably take care of that. And I would add a hard start and then stop. Don't even say what the parts do. Just stop it there. Say the total and then let them go on. That's what I meant by earlier. Sometimes less is more. And that's why I say that was very hard for me, because the technical geek in me wanted to be like, oh, well, a hard start is like a defibrillator for a compressor. You put it on there, and when it starts up, it's going to reduce the power. And a lot of those people don't give a fuck. They don't care. If they care, they're going to ask you. Let them ask. If they don't, then fucking move on.
But when you give options, I will say this, that in order to build more value, so if your price is probably pretty high if you're doing a hard start, a run cap, and a contactor, so it's going to be a pricey repair, and because there's a lot of work that goes into that, and it goes back to, you're the expert. It's not just about it's about what you know. It's not just about how easy it is to find the problem. The reason it's easy is because you have the experience and gain the experience to be able to find it easily. So it's about what you know. It's like being a doctor. But the other thing is, that's probably going to be pretty pricey. So if they, say, chances are they're going to say, well, why do I need that stuff? So you're going to have to explain it. But what I was going to say is, the more that you can explain, like, you're building value, okay? When you explain what you're going to do to change that contactor, I mean, it sounds ridiculous, but you could say, well, here's what we need to do is I'm going to pull the power, the disconnect out there. That's going to kill the power to the unit. And then I've got to take all the wiring loose from this contactor. The contactor is like a power distributor. It like distributes power to the compressor and the fan motor, and it allows everything to come on and run. And so it's extremely important part within your unit. And then I've got one that's got this cover that actually is going to protect it from ants getting in there. And it's going to be a 40 amp. A lot of people use the 30 amps. I go with the 40 amps because they're just a stronger, better contactor. And then I'm going to rewire everything. And then I'm going to test amp draw and everything. So you're just like, you're making it way more than what it is, but you're building the value. So it's a great way to be able to get more money for every service call that you do, because you're building this value.
Yeah, I agree with that. But I agree with only saying that if it's needed, though, because I've just found that I used to just give all that information at once, and that some customers were bombarded with that information and they didn't care. Some are going to ask you, like you just said, why do I need that? Then that's the time to do that and explain it. But
you'll know real quick. You'll know real quick, because I agree. A lot of people are like, they just start turning their head and they're like, I don't care. Some people need the information, some don't. You're right. But for the people that do it and build the value.
Yeah, and make sure that if you're going to offer things like that, that you're prepared to answer questions, because nothing is worse when they say, oh, why do I need that? And you're like, because it's not working, because it's broke. Make sure that you're diverse in your job, that you know what these parts do and why they help a system, especially the add-on stuff. Or why should the customer change that contactor because it's burnt and pitted? Make sure they know what's going to happen with that. Why they should do that and things like that. That makes a big deal. And the other thing, like I just talked to my guys not long ago, is make sure if you don't know, I'm trying to make sure you're comfortable when you're giving that stuff. Because if you come off like you're second guessing yourself, then they're going to feel that and they're going to second guess what you're saying. I went back, and one of the guys, he called me on the phone, and I told him, hey, that motor windings mess up, blah, blah, blah. But when he said it, he wasn't comfortable in saying it. And she was like, well, you know what? I want Gil to come out here, because she was familiar with me. And I went out there and said the same thing he did. But just because I said it confidently, when I left there, she was happy, didn't hear a peep. So make sure you're confident in what you say. And don't be afraid to tell a customer you don't know. I mean, obviously, don't leave it like that. You know, if they ask you some off the wall question and you're a newer or beginner tech, be like, you know what? That's a good question. I don't know the answer off the top of my head, but why don't you give me a second and I'll get the answer for you. They're going to respect that more than if you try to feed them some bullshit, because these people know when you're bullshitting them. They do. Even if they don't know about what you're talking about, they can just tell that you're bullshitting them.
And I've been with techs. You ever had like ride-alongs? A new tech comes on, not a new tech, but like just a new guy comes to work for your company, and he's riding along with you. And by like the fourth call, he starts stepping in and saying shit. And you're like, oh my fucking God, this dude doesn't even know what the fuck he's talking about.
I want to backhand him.
Oh my God, that shit drives me crazy. Like fucking insane.
I just want to stay in line, motherfucker.
So I always have that conversation. If I've got somebody riding with me, I make sure to have that conversation. I'm like, listen, until you've had some experience, it's fine if you want to have some talk like about football or something else. But when it comes to the system, please don't be giving advice or anything. Let me do the talking. And boy, if they step in and talk and start trying to explain the way something works when they have no fucking idea what they're talking about, that is like, as soon as we get in the van, they're getting a fucking earful from me, because I don't want to listen to it. And what they do is they wind up saying some shit that either scares the customer or is completely fucking wrong. So that is a pet peeve of mine. Obviously, I'm passionate about it, but I'm sure any seasoned veteran can relate to what we're talking about here.
Yeah, that's God. I fucking hate that, man. When they start chiming in and just fucking getting diarrhea of the mouth, and I'm over there looking at them like, would you please just shut the fuck up? Like, what you're saying doesn't even make sense. And then it's like, I was already gonna have to do this whole process. Now I got to do a cleanup mode to just try to delete all the bullshit you just put in their fucking earlobe. Like, it's just, hey man, why don't you go outside and get that whatever the fuck's in the back? Yeah, go do that, because I've had to just say, I'm sorry, but that's not true. That's not entirely true. Here's what will actually happen, or what blah blah blah. And it makes you just look unprofessional as a company. I mean, these people are probably thinking, what the fuck? But so if you're new and you're just starting out and you really don't understand the mechanics of how something's working, just be quiet. Let the senior tech do the talking. Yeah, nope. I definitely agree. We're getting a little killer on time, but I just here, I guess I'll click my little.
Now time to say what with Gil Kelley.
Hey, I'm back. Same guy I was just talking 30 seconds ago.
Here's Gil.
But just a couple of things that I just wanted to bring up real fast before we close this out. Like we said earlier, guys, hey, we're getting into that. Most of us across the country are getting to the full swing of, heating season and winter's coming and all that kind of stuff, guys. Just make sure that you're being thorough out there, that you're doing these PMs. Like I said, you're doing them thorough, that you're offering what needs to be offered, and you're actually doing your job to make sure that system is safe to operate for the customer. And it's going to work the way it was designed to work. That, like I always say that we're checking heat exchangers, guys. Until I started checking them and learning how to properly do it, man, I just never realized how many out there are breached and stuff like that. So just make sure that you're being thorough in your job. The last thing that I want to cover, and I guess it's just something that has bothered me, and it's not really HVAC related, but I was sitting at a gas station the other day, and I just started thinking in my head as I started watching the interaction between people going in and out of the store, and it was just like, chivalry is dead. Like, guys, let's all be, I'm pretty sure most of you were raised like me, where you just, how you treat a lady and things like that. You're elderly. Like, I just see people walking into a store and like they don't hold doors open for women. They don't, like, I'll hold a door open for anyone, black, green, purple, male, female. I just feel like it's the right thing to do. It's just, just it's about your character, man. Just make sure that we're trying to be the best person that we can be, and don't fall into what you see on TV and to how people are, man. Just try to be better. And I know this isn't HVAC related, but it just bothers me when I see stuff like that, man. Like, be part of the solution, not the problem. And don't be one of those self-entitled fucking douchebags. And the sad part is we have some in our group, because I see their comments, and it's just that gets you nothing, man. It really doesn't, being self-entitled. It just, I don't know. It really gets you nothing. And just make sure that you're opening to others, and just try to be the best person you can be. I'll leave it at that, because I don't want to dig myself in a hole that I can't get out of.
I think that's a good point, but here's what I think is that the majority of, the HVAC technicians and installers, I think we naturally, even if this industry just found you, whether it was something you pursued, like, or it's just you wound up, the industry found you. I think I'd like to know the percentage, but I can just about guarantee you that 99% of everybody that's in this industry who has done service work or install work, we just come from a different place. We come from like a heart. We have like a heart to serve people. So I think that it'd be shocking to see what that percentage is, but I'll bet it's 99% of us in the HVAC industry. We're going to open the door for people because we come from a place of service. We're not, that's what gets us, that's why we go out at 10 o'clock at night when somebody has no heat. That's why we get up at 5 o'clock in the morning, on a freezing morning to go help someone with no heat, or go out 11 o'clock or 12 o'clock to go fix somebody's air conditioner. You come from a level of service. I don't know how to word that, but you get what I'm saying, Gil?
Yeah, because most of us, most of the people that are in the trades come from blue collar backgrounds, that we weren't born with a silver spoon in our mouth, that, we have to
taught to respect people.
Yeah, that we have to earn what we get. Nothing's going to be given to us, and so forth. So it's just, make sure that we keep being, us that are in the trade right now, we are the next, the generation who needs to, we're leaving the legacy and the foundation for those coming after us, and make sure that we're still leaving that legacy that was left to us. You know what I mean? Make sure that we're still doing the right thing, whether it's at work or it's in life and what have you, that we're still making sure that we're passing those same qualities and morals and values and et cetera down to other people. And sometimes it's just leading by example. It's pretty much what it boils down to. That we don't have to say, hey, do this, do that, that we're just doing it. Like with my children. I say stuff to them, but my son sees me, like, prime example, and I'll be quick with this, is we went to like a steakhouse a couple of months back, and we were walking in, and my son was the last person, and all of a sudden, like, a big party started coming out, or me and him were the last two people, and he held the door for him, which was good. And he looked at me and he was like, I gotta sit here and hold it for everybody. I was like, yeah, you do. I'm like, you're going to be sitting inside just waiting to go to a table anyway. Why not sit out here and be a gentleman and just hold the door for this party of people that's coming out? But it was just a little lesson that he learned. And when he was walking back in, some lady was like, oh, what a sweet boy, your parents are doing a good job, or something like that. Just a little statement. And it made me feel good. And then it put a smile on his face that he was happy that he did that. And now when we have that kind of situations, he doesn't even think about it. He's the one standing out there, holding the door, helping the lady out the door, and things like that. And that's how I want it to be.
Yeah, he got some positive reinforcement for doing a good deed. So now that naturally wants you want more of that. So that's awesome. That's a great lesson. And obviously it affected him.
Yeah, I mean, he got tired of me smacking him with the newspaper because it wasn't working.
Right.
Stop pissing on the floor.
Right. I will say one more thing, not about that subject, but on the heat exchanger subject that you briefly talked about, which is just if there's because we all have these heat exchangers where we're just not quite sure. We know that there's no like guaranteed crack in it, but there's something that's not settling right with you. So in that situation, for whatever it is, maybe the vestibule is getting ready to rust out or something like that. Just make sure to document that on your ticket, but a way that you can word it on that ticket, and this is what I teach our guys, is to word it like this. Just say that the integrity of the heat exchanger is compromised and I recommend replacement. It's just a way to make sure they understand that it's not the way it should be. I can't technically find a crack in it, but I do recommend that you replace it and upgrade it. So just thought I'd throw that out there. Integrity is compromised. We use that a lot. If it's one that like we're leaking water through the seams, you know what I'm saying, Gil? It's like you shouldn't be leaking water through the seams because if water comes through there, fucking gas sure as shit goes through there. But this shit happens where the seams probably leaked from day one from the factory. Well, to me, that's the integrity is compromised. I don't believe it should be leaking. We shouldn't be getting any water through there if we're doing the furnace safety experts or whatever they're called. We we shouldn't be seeing that. But so I always note it that way if I find it that way.
Yeah, or you get guys who install furnaces and they go to lift it and they grab it by the heat exchanger and then they've just ruined that thing to where, or they're hoisting it up into an attic and they wrap it around the heat exchanger and tie a rope and then they pull it up, not realizing that you just doomed that thing from day one. But
Yeah.
but all right, guys.
Of that.
Oh yeah, no, I'm not
guilty.
I never have either. But I've learned from my mistakes, and you didn't think that thing damaged it. And maybe the one that we did wasn't damaged, but over time, percentage it shows that you're going to damage one of them. So it's not the right way. Don't do it that way. But hey guys, yeah, obviously this is me and Kelly. Hopefully giving some good information. Like we said before, man, we apologize about the little delay and the technical difficulties. We're going to get back on track. We have some good guests coming up for you guys that actually had to be pushed back a little bit just because of this little delay. But we're going to get back on schedule. We appreciate you guys being patient with us. So thank you very much for that. But let's go ahead and start closing this thing out, my friend.
Thanks so much for listening, guys. Each and every one of you mean a lot to Gil and I, and we appreciate you being a part of this fastest growing HVAC podcast out there. So thank you from the bottom of our hearts. Thank you. Congratulations once again to Mr. Ethan Riley, and also just want to say Mr. Michael Lee, hope that you continue to start feeling better and better. We all appreciate you. Obviously, we're all worried about you. So we're glad that you're home and you're doing better. Real quick, I just want to say that go to www.HVAC Service Ready. I've started like a membership program for all the content that's in there, and I'm constantly adding more content. And there'll be a private Facebook group as well. I'm going to make the one, if you're currently in the group, I'm going to leave you in the group, but I'm going to set this privacy settings to private, and you'll have to ask to join. But just a monthly membership, lot of just packed full of information in my program. So please check that out. And guys, go make money.
Yes, guys. The same as Kelly just said. Ethan, congratulations to you, buddy. Definitely awesome to hear. Mr. Lee, so good to hear that you're doing well, sir. I know that you normally post in the group. When I don't see you, I get worried. So the fact that your wife said that and was keeping us posted was awesome. So thank her once again. And I'm glad to hear that you're doing well, sir. As always, I like to give a shout out to my little bro Isaiah. Guys, Isaiah is really putting the pedal to the metal, man. The boy is really putting the work in. He has his own HVAC group now. He has his giveaway coming up that I'm going to help him do now that we're on the same page as what he needs me to do for him. So make sure you're definitely checking out Isaiah's stuff. But guys, as always, like I said previously, man, we thank you guys for sticking through us through this little technical difficulties, man. We thank and appreciate each and every one of you. You guys are what have made this, the fastest growing HVAC podcast. It's just the support has been overwhelming. And you guys locally, man, that I see, I know Kelly has seen people, the guys that I see that, wave to me and stuff like that. That's awesome, man. Keep it up. I want to meet you guys. I want to meet as many as I can. If I can meet every single one of you, that's the goal. I know it's not realistic, but I want to meet as many as you as possible, man. It really means the world to me just sitting there if I bullshit with you for 10 minutes. So, other than that, man, you guys know you can always check us out on all the major podcast apps. Apparently, we're still having trouble with Google Play, and I don't understand what it is because when I talk to them, they tell me everything's fine. So I'm going to dig into that again to figure out what's going on. But we are on the podcast app for iTunes. I'll get Google Play figured out, the Stitcher app, SoundCloud, and Spotify. Our website, www.hvacuncensored.com. That can link to all of our YouTube and all that kind of stuff. And me and Kelly are going to talk about getting our next Yellow Jacket giveaway scheduled here soon. And that's about it, man. You guys, as always, stay safe. Always leave, always want to come home the same way you left. And remember, always set yourself apart, guys. Do what the next guy's not doing. Till next time, I'll talk at you fuckers later. Peace.
Peace, bitches.
Thanks for listening to the HVAC Uncensored podcast. Don't forget to check us out on Facebook and Instagram, or email us anytime at hvacuncensored@gmail.com. Now, get back to work. Shut this down. The views and opinions shared on the HVAC Uncensored podcast may not necessarily be the views and opinions of our sponsors or guests.